We are so delighted to welcome Dr. Seiko Izumi.
Hello, everyone.
Dr. Seiko, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Seiko Izumi, and I am Associate Professor at Oregon Health and Science University School of Nursing. Currently, I am teaching in the PhD program and DNP program and Master of Nursing Education program. I am also a nurse researcher, and my area of research is palliative care. Palliative care is a field delivering patient-centered holistic care to enhance or to maintain the quality of life of person living with serious illness and their families, regardless their age or stage of illness. So that is my research area.
Thank you so much. I'm curious to know what made you interested in palliative care?
So I graduated from the School of Nursing in Japan, and I started working as a nursing. And as I practice as a nurse, I learned that there's a great amount of similarity between basic principles of palliative care and the philosophical foundation of nursing. Goals of both palliative care and nursing are promoting the health and well-being of people. So that means the quality of life of people, and and doing so by addressing the needs of the person as a whole. So naturally, I was very much attracted to the concept of palliative care, and from very early stage of my nursing career.
Particularly in palliative care, could you share your thoughts about nurses' leadership and roles of nurses?
Sure. So palliative care is usually delivered by a team of interprofessional healthcare providers and workers. And because of, the reason for that is because palliative care is delivering the holistic care. So it needs to address the entire patient. So biomedical needs, psychosocial needs, spiritual needs. And only one professional cannot deliver that, address all those needs of the various areas. So it is usually delivered by interprofessional, the healthcare team. And working in this interprofessional care teams, nurse plays a critical key role to coordinating those care provided by various many team members. And the reason why the nurses are playing this critical key leading role is that one, because nurses are educated and have a training to have the ability to assessing and providing the care for patients as a whole. So including again the biomedical, psychosocial, spiritual aspects. And the second, nurses are often work most closely with patients and their families. So they know the patient and family best among the team members. So not only about their illness and treatment, but also their families, living environment, and any other social determinants of health. So that's why the nurses are positioned to taking the very critical leading role in the interdisciplinary the team members. So because of their multidisciplinary knowledge and the grasp of patients as a whole, it is nurses' responsibility to leading the interprofessional care conference to address all patients' needs. And for example, so depending on the patient's needs, the nurse who is leading the team also may need to communicate with the social workers, or it may be recommending to inviting nutrition department or the OT or PT to the group to talk about the patient's need, or the even suggesting the physicians to communicating with pharmacists or having the goal of care conversation with the patient. So in those sense, the nurses are leaders in the daily practice, and they are leading the entire team to providing a high quality care for the patient's needs. So that is the why I really believe that the nurses are leaders in palliative care team.
Wow, it's so fascinating to know that nurses can play a central key role within the group dynamics within the healthcare team. Thank you so much for sharing. Then, from your perspective, besides palliative care, do you have any thoughts about nurses as a leader in general?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. So I was selected as a Sojourn Scholars in 2015, and Sojourn Scholars are awarded for by Cambia Health Foundation in the United States, and that is for the palliative care leadership. And so since the time that I applied for the scholarship and gaining the experiences and learning about leadership, I was thinking often about the meaning of leadership. And at the beginning, I was thinking that a leader is someone who stands in front of people and leading them. And leader is someone like a corporate executive with charisma. And I thought that I am introvert, and I am not charismatic, and I'm just a nurse. So I don't have the power or the authority. Therefore, I am not a leader. That was my initial thinking. However, through this experience of going through the Sojourn Scholar program, I have learned that leader is one who inspire and move others towards to the shared goals. So it is not where this person stands on top in front of other people, or it is not the title or the credentials you have. The qualification for the leader is the ability to moving, inspiring other people toward to the shared goals is something the nurses, and I learned that the nurses do those things all the time. You know, we nurses are all working with everyone in the team, including patients and family members, and moving the team towards to our shared goals, which is to providing the best care possible for the patients or to promoting the high quality of life for the patient. So nurses are doing all of this all the time. And so that is my thought of the nurses. Nurses are the leaders and leading, inspiring, and working with everybody to achieving for the shared goals.
Oh, I really love your definition of leadership and hearing your story of how your leadership definition transitioned to a new perspective. I really appreciate it. So currently it is a very challenging time for nurses like facing this current pandemic. Um, from your experience of your thoughts, like how do you think nurses can play a leadership role during this pandemic?
So this COVID-19 pandemic touches almost everyone on the earth, right? And in the United States, it is particularly hit, the United States is particularly hit hard by this COVID pandemic. And the healthcare workers have been strained for more than 1 year by now already and exhausted, and there are many of them are burning out. And I thought that it was a little bit ironic that 2020 was the year of nurses, and people recognized the value of nurses because of the pandemic. And also, the many people recognize that the value of palliative care because of the pandemic as well. Because with COVID-19, there is no cure. And what the healthcare provider can do, offer, is to managing the symptoms as best as possible and assisting people who are facing the death. So there is a lot of appreciation for the nurses as well as palliative care. So that is my observation of the what is happening because of the pandemics. And through those observations and my experiences, my own experiences, and also seeing the colleagues working in this pandemic, I found that many leadership by nurses in pandemic also I observed. So, for example, I have seen that the nurses coordinating and making arrangement to adding the more beds to admit more COVID patients in ICU. They are orchestrating all those work in the hospital setting to adding more beds and providing them more care to the patients. Nurse managers who is fighting to secure enough personal protective equipment to protecting and advocating for the safety of their workers. That is an example of the leadership. Nurse managers and nurses really need to voicing their concerns and protecting their own safety. Otherwise, they cannot provide the quality care and protecting the other people who are suffering from COVID. I also see that nurses who check in their colleagues to support each other and navigating a lot of uncertainties, stresses, angst, and losses. And without those support each other and really voicing and the helping each other is an act of leadership, I believe. Another example could be the nurses who are volunteering to give vaccine to the people in the community. Even during they are exhausted during their work time, but even during the day off, they are even volunteering to helping the people in the community. And I also see that nursing students who are reaching out to the community and educating people about vaccination, importance of vaccination. So those are all the leadership act by the leadership and really delivering the high quality care and providing to promoting the people's health. So even in the very hard time during the COVID pandemic, the nurses are really demonstrating the great leadership. And what I noticed is that as a character of the leadership through the pandemic time, is that I noticed that all of them, those people, the nurses I just described, all of them speak up and take actions and inspire and move the other people around them to work together towards to their shared goals, which can be saving lives, providing the humane care, safety and wellness of the team, protecting the health of people and the community. So toward to those shared goals, they are really taking the action. So those are the indication of the great leadership during the COVID pandemic I observed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Seiko, for a powerful message. Finally, could you give us a message to nurses and nursing students who will become the future leaders?
The message is that we nurses are all leaders, and you can lead from wherever you are. So I think the key for the leadership is the finding your North Star, your shared goals you really want to achieve, and finding the courage to speak up, to share your thoughts, and finding your colleagues and working together with them and towards to achieving your shared goals. So we can do it, and you are great leaders.